cannabis. I grew up in a family that was very, pro cannabis. It was just like eat, sleeping, and, drinking. And then when you take into account all the medicinal properties that it has, it's just like, who wouldn't, fall in love, with this plant. Luckily, I'm from the Bay Area, so medical marijuana has been around for a really long time, probably over 20-25 years. And I'm glad to say that I was, an early patient, and I was able to legally grow in Oakland, California. I had like an indoor grow that I had hydroponics, and I thought I was like the mad professor in there with my pH and, testing my parts per million. And I also had an outdoor grow. And it was just love, So when I went to become a patient, I was really interested in the doctor. I was like, you got the bomb job. Like, how do I become, a medical marijuana doctor? So it's something that I've always wanted to do. And it's such a pleasure to be able to help patients medicate naturally and teach them and help them, find an appropriate dose to manage, their ailments.
Yeah, well, you helped a lot of patients definitely find relief with cannabis. What has been your best, your favorite part about cannabis and naturopathic medicine?
Wow, I think that's multifactorial, but the biggest pleasure that I get is, really turning somebody on to the benefits of medical marijuana, or changing someone's mind, or, someone was skeptical and they came back and they're like, oh my God, this stuff works. Or having someone be in pain management and, slowly being able to wean themselves off of the opioids and onto cannabis as their mainstay. Or, some patients who can use it, together, find that those benefits are synergistic and they can also be just as effective.
What have been some of your biggest hurdles with the program?
Wow. Some of the biggest hurdles. Well, I think it would be nice if we had, a few more, qualifying conditions. I would like the anxiety added. I would like to see depression. We have PTSD, but that didn't come until like almost 10 years after the program had, been initiated. It may seem trivial for some, but insomnia, I think that's a big deal. If you're not sleeping, nothing else is going to be going right, in your life. Hey, chronic migraines. I would like to see, that added also. It's unfortunate, that with the progression of the program moving more digital, having your cards through the portal, unfortunately, some of my patients have not been able to carry that on. Some patients unfortunately still struggle getting an email, knowing how to use an email. So it did cut a very small percent of patients, out of the loop. Some of my patients don't even have phones that can support the data to be able to even download, their cards. So how can they even set up an email on their phone? So those type of challenges.
Yeah.
But overall, I think the program has been a success. I feel blessed that we have it here in Arizona.
I agree with you, and definitely the technology has been a big hurdle with the program. The qualifying conditions, definitely, they should have more. We get a lot of calls for people wanting to get their card for anxiety and depression. They already are using cannabis legally with the adult use program, but they definitely want to save and qualify under anxiety and depression, so it looks recognized on their medical records as well. There is a bill that passed back in April, I believe, the Senate. We find out this month, I was told, if not sometime in this quarter, we'll find out if it goes through, that will lower the cost down to $50 for a renewal rather than the $150 for the state fee, and be free for veterans. So I'm really excited to see how that goes. If we can get some traction with that, I think that will help the program more as well. We have lost quite a few patients in Arizona because of legalization, but I think people are starting to realize the benefits of the program still, and are starting to come back, especially when it comes to saving money on the taxes. That's a big one right there. We've noticed people.
Absolutely. I think of recent, maybe in the last, year, other than chronic pain management patients, I've noticed a lot of patients coming back in just to get those, higher dose edibles, so they can use them more effectively for pain management.
Yeah, exactly. And what about chronic pain? Now, I know that's one of our biggest qualifying conditions. How have you been able to see it benefit people with chronic pain in conjunction with their pain management programs? I know we get a lot of people coming in with large prescription list of medications early on, and then after a few years, we start to see them go down. They start to subside. So we do know it's working, but how have you seen people managing both benefit from it? Are they still taking the same amount of pain medication, or are they able to lower the dosage?
I think it varies. It's not a one shoe fits all. I have patients who come in, and cannabis effectively manages their pain. They come home from work, they medicate, and their pain is if not gone nearly, they're feeling great. I have other patients who will medicate, and their pain was at an 8, maybe it'll take it down to a 7, maybe it'll take it down to a 6. So everyone's gonna vary when we talk about that. And also when we talk about the use of when we talk about anyone that's also like in pain management, right? Because I have some patients who are going to have like a neuro pain, stimulator, being in pain management and be using cannabis. And all three of those, will effectively be managing, his pain. I have some patients who, yes, they have been effectively, if not completely wean off of their pain management, they can go to PRN and use it kind of as needed in conjunction with the cannabinoid, medical marijuana, therapy. One of the things that I really, really like about being a doctor who makes recommendations for medical marijuana is overall medical marijuana is safe. That's not to say it's for everyone and that it's safe for every single medication, out there, but overall, if you're worried, about, indications, you can kind of take it, away from any oral medications instead of taking them kind of like, at the same time. But to answer your question, yes, I have seen patients effectively wean off of their pain medications. I have seen patients lower their dose with the use of medical marijuana, and I have seen patients go to a scheduled dosing every 8 hours, I'll occasionally take one, if I get too much, at work today. Now, another thing that's really nice about using, medical marijuana in conjunction with your pain therapy, like for example, Oxycontin, is it's going to work synergistically. So like you can't like have a glass of wine and then take a Percocet. That's a no. Double whammy on the brain stem. But cannabis has its own mechanism, and scientific research says that if you take your pain management and, for example, smoke a joint, that they're actually going to potentiate the effects of each other, which means the Percocet, for example, is going to work better, with you taking a couple puffs of your joint, if you will. I really think it's really nice to consider using, cannabis, as a step down treatment for patients, wanting to wean. So as you're, slowly coming off, that's when you can really be ramping up your cannabis use. And that could be smoking a joint, that could be the vape pen, a concentrated form, that could be some edibles, that could be some capsules, that could be a pain patch. I mean, you can run the gamut. And I think when patients are trying to do detox, I think they should do it all. I think they should rub it, smoke it, eat it, yeah, for sure.
That was going to be my next question, is what was your recommended method of consumption to someone trying to find relief for pain management with cannabis?
I think it varies. If you want fast relief, quick relief, smoke it, inhale it, vape pen. You have a migraine coming and you're starting to get aura, flashing lights, blinking lights, get that vape pen and start microdosing to get that, quick, relief. Hey, if you need to go to sleep, you might want to do, a low dose edible, 5 milligrams, and see how you sleep at night. That's really going to be metabolized slowly in the liver, and you're going to get that 4, 5, 6, 7 hours, relief, as opposed to, maybe 1 to 2 hours after taking a couple puffs out of your vape pen. So one's going to be, immediate, relief. One's going to be delayed, but the delay is going to last, be delayed, last longer. Same thing if I have a patient that has, chemo-related nausea, they're probably not going to want to eat anything, so maybe, smoking, or, vape inhalation might be a better alternative. And I like to remind patients, that when we're talking about smoking, we're talking like taking, one or two puffs, kind of as needed, throughout the day, as opposed to chain smoking. It's kind of a totally different energy. So smoking isn't always the big bad boogeyman.
I definitely tell people that too. And how have you seen cannabis help people with seizures?
Oh my God! Oh wow! That's incredible. I mean, yeah. Not to be off topic, but for for dogs too. Yeah. I mean, it's insane, especially in, my pediatric, population. I do a lot of, certifications, for minors. So my autistic, my epilepsy. Yeah. Just like, miracle, but once again, it's finding, the right dose. I mean, I had a parent, she was running all over the place. Her child was like really, really picky. And finally she found some pudding, that was able to help, control, her seizures. There's been like a little bit of like red tape, that I've had to go through to help, some of the, patients, be able to dose, their child, especially if like their child's in any type of like, special care, facility, needs facility or anything like that. But, I always work really hard to do whatever I can in those situations.
Yeah, definitely with the kids, you want to take a slower, safer approach. They're not as easy to communicate with when things are going on. So, we've seen cannabis, primarily me CBD, help a lot of children, especially with the autism and the ADHD. I've seen autistic kids actually develop communication and motor skills that they never had from incorporating CBD. And it's great to see the results and studies going on with schizophrenia and CBD. So there actually high dosages of CBD can help schizophrenic patients. So, there's a lot that we're learning with this wonderful plant. What else do you focus on with naturopathic medicine? I know cannabis is our gateway to get people in at natural healing for naturopathic medicine and alternative therapy. We are able to show them other methods of therapies that have helped us and people we know. But what do you also incorporate in your practice? I know over here we focus on certifications, but in Phoenix you have a full functioning practice. Just want you to tell people more about what you do.
I do. Well, being a naturopath, it really starts with, nutrition, and diet. So I like to work a lot with patients that are overweight, obese, suffering from prediabetes, diabetes type 2, insulin resistance, fatty liver. And I also like to work with patients who are suffering, from, hormonal imbalance, and it's interesting that that diabetes, type 2, it's really become an epidemic, here, and that I can see a patient in my office and go through the whole gamut of intake, analyzing their diary thoroughly. What are their macronutrients, their protein, their carbohydrates, their fat? And most Americans are going to be nutrient deficient in either their macronutrients or either their micronutrients. So I'm focusing heavily on really, David, what are they called? Diseases, chronic diseases of civilization. So these are all the diseases like obesity, diabetes, heart disease, hypertension, all caused by eating bad food. And in naturopathic medicine, we call that SAD, the Standard American Diet.
Yeah, that's definitely, we see a lot of that going on in the office.
Nutrition is linked to chronic diseases.
Well, I can attest that I've gone through my cycles of poor nutrition, poor weight management, poor health, and it is a lot harder to catch up than it is to incorporate preventative measures early on and be more disciplined and just take more effort into eating healthier and exercising and not exerted, like extremely exertive exercise. I'm just talking about basic walking 30-45 minutes a day, eating half of what you normally eat. If you have problems with portion control, just eat half of what you eat. You're the one that told me that it takes the brain 30 minutes to process from the gut that it's full, and most people eat in 5 to 6 minutes. So that's
there, crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy, right? It's like, man, so yeah, we have to practice, mindful eating. So my programs that I basically offer, I do like a lot of, weight loss, and that includes like nutritional coaching, accountability. I have natural weight loss program where we use natural supplements, amino acids to kind of curb your head hunger and your stomach hunger. I also offer medically supervised appetite suppressants like phentermine for patients who qualify. And then my most popular weight loss program right now is the peptide hormone therapy that most people might know as Ozempic or the Wegovy, the semaglutide. So I offer, semaglutide and B12 injections, which are the compounded, compounded version of the Ozempic, and it is classified as a peptide hormone. So it is a hormone-like analog. So it is designed to work in form and structure, like the original substance, which is glucagon, and that is going to help lower your blood glucose, because we don't want any blood glucose spikes, because that leads to insulin surges, and that leads, to fat storage. So basically, the semaglutide helps you feel fuller longer. It improves insulin sensitivity from the pancreas, and it offers guaranteed weight loss. And in addition to that, I also do natural bioidentical hormones, and that is, all natural. They're made from plants, and patients that might benefit from that, might be a perimenopausal woman anywhere from like 35 to 60, who might be suffering from stubborn, weight gain, fatigue, hot flashes, night sweats, vaginal dryness, low libido, low mood, forgetfulness, chin hairs, that's a good one, and just overall.
IV therapy too.
I do IV therapy, but my IV therapy is it has to be pre-ordered, right? So you can't just come in, because it has to be ordered from a compounding pharmacy. But that's one of my favorite things to do is IV therapy, Myers cocktail, and the high dose vitamin C and vitamin and mineral mix.
So why don't you tell people a little bit more about the hormone therapy? Because as me getting older, I notice certain things, start to depreciate, and there's ways that you can supplement that. I know there's natural ways, and there's also ways that teeter on natural, and I know there's also fully synthetic ways. So why don't you tell people a little bit more about the hormone therapy and how they can benefit from that and how it's administered?
Okay, well, the first thing is, you start with a hormone, checklist. Like what symptoms, are you having? Me specifically, when I was in my mid 40s, I noticed I was having, trouble sleeping. So I think for a lot of women, that's probably going to be like the top, symptom that they're going to see: insomnia. Another thing is, brain fog. It's like, you're upstairs, you got to go downstairs and get something. And the moment you get downstairs, it's like, I forgot. Like I said earlier, night sweats, low libido, vaginal dryness, loss of interest in sex, low energy. So these are things, that we would test for. And there's really two ways that you can do the testing. You can either do it, through a home kit that's like called ZRT, and you just do drops of blood, almost like you're doing like a blood glucose stick. Um, And it also includes a salivary adrenal profile, you know, as well. So you're testing your sex hormones, your thyroid hormones, and your adrenal hormones. That's the home test. Or you can just go get your blood drawn at LabCorp, and then once your lab is, you know, analyzed. If you're deficient, you know, in any of the hormones, then we want to replenish, you know, those hormones. I think the most common way is through creams, you know, that you can take twice a day, sometimes once a day, depending on how much you need. There's also things called troches or troches, and they're like little like dissolvable films impregnated, you know, with the hormone that you can kind of, you know, put in your mouth. And there's also, you know, capsules. You know, it really depends on how the patient presents on, you know, which method, you know, they use, and which method, you know, they kind of, feel comfortable with, you know. But it's really addressing your thyroid hormone. Are you hyper? Is your thyroid sluggish, overactive? You know, it's addressing your adrenals. Do you have adrenal burnt out? Are you stressed out? Do your kidneys, you know, need some support? And then analyzing, you know, your sex hormones, and that's going to be your progesterone. You know, that's your feel good hormone. Analyzing your estrogen, and that's your get it done hormone. And then we have testosterone, and that's going to, you know, give us energy and help us, you know, repair muscle.
Okay, yeah, it's a lot of information right there, and man, a lot of knowledge you have about hormone therapy. We're going to start letting our patients know at Natural Healing more about it here. Me and Dr. Johnson have been working on getting content together to share it within the community because I do know it's something that will be able to help a lot of people. I see how some imbalances are hormonal caused, so it'd be good to get people feeling right and energetic and in their natural state. It looks like we hit 30 minutes pretty quick, and
Real quick, I have to
yeah,
tell one other thing about the hormone therapy.
go ahead.
It is protective. It is protective. It is cardiovascular protective. It is bone protective to prevent osteoporosis. It is also protective against Alzheimer's and dementia, cardiovascular disease. So it has wonderful protective therapies, because once we see our hormones start to decrease, we start to see a rise in all these other debilitating chronic diseases.
Yeah, well, definitely you know a lot more about this than a lot of other people, and I'm listening. I know, like I said, we've been talking about it, and it's something that I've even been looking into for myself with couple things. You know, I know I've talked to naturopaths in the past about alternative ways to boost HGH and testosterone, and I know we're very limited on what we can do. So it's good to know that there's alternative sources out there. Is there anything else you wanted to add, Dr. Johnson, about the program? You know, I know we've touched on safety, as you said before, too. It's not going to take away all pain. I tell people it's not a cure-all. I respect cannabis. I use it regularly. This is actually the first smoke session I went through my whole blunt. But I tell people the safe use is the best way right now with any medication they take. They're always going to have to take a safe approach to it, and cannabis is no different. Is there any contraindications you've seen that work with other medications or have with other medications? Or
Contraindications, you know, just, you know, if you have, you know, anxiety, maybe, be cautious with using some sativas, especially when we get into THC that's really high. I'm
yeah.
like, really, 23, 24, 25, 26% THC. I'm sorry. that's freaking ridiculous. I'm sorry. I mean, that's definitely going to make you, anxious and paranoid and heart palpitations, unless you know the CBD is really high in that product. That's a big no. Same thing with atrial fibrillation. If you have atrial fibrillation, once again, sativas with a super high THC. I'm not gonna recommend that. Hey, I see patients, with COPD, emphysema. I'm not gonna say that I know the whole entire, science and pathophysiology, but hey, if you're gonna smoke, try and use a bubbler, a bong, something that's gonna, get a little moisture in there and help, take out, some of the impurities, and if you have a medical marijuana card, you really should be getting out there, kind of exploring, really all that's available, to you. Try some tinctures, try some of the ratio products with the CBD, the THC, try different strengths, try different dosing, every 8 hours, every 4 hours, every 6 hours, try energetic, dosing, try drop dosing, just kind of play with it until you find, your groove, what works well for, what works well for you.
Okay, well, yeah, definitely. Like I said, a lot of great information. We squeezed in only 30 minutes. Um, we'll do more. Obviously, you're made for this, and I keep trying to tell you to get out there and do more of these. So I'm glad I was able to push you to do this one this week. And I know we'll have more to share. And I really hope the setup was good today. I couldn't hear any of it. I didn't know if we're getting any feedback from the mic. This is only our third show. And we're really working on all this. And, right before this all started, too, Dr. Johnson was reminding me just to be patient. And, we know what we're doing right now, but we're still limited and we'll get it down. But yeah, Dr. Johnson, I really appreciate you joining me. I have so much love for you. I appreciate you so much. The patients love you.
And, you're a true blessing. You're a true blessing, David. You and natural healing.
Well, we're going to get more of a word out there about plant medicine, cannabis, homeopathy, naturopathic medicine, and more.
Cannabinoid therapy.
Yep. I've devoted my whole career to advocating for this because I've seen it help myself and others so much. And, we got away from it with allopathic medicine. So maybe we can get back to it with some naturopathic medicine.
Absolutely.
Well, you have a blessed day, Dr. Johnson. And,
you too.
All right. Thanks for joining us.
I'll see you soon. Love you.
I love you too. Bye.
At Natural Healing Care Center, we're here to guide you on your path to wellness.
We'll help you find natural relief through practices like meditation, yoga, medical cannabis certifications, CBD products, and more. Check our website for more information.